other question, guys? Any other question from last class?
सर वो एएस ओवरराइड वाली चीज भी वो हम
देखेंगे।
वीपीएन वी4 में ही कर सकते हैं सर। नहीं वो ठीक है, वो हमने लास्ट क्लास में डिस्कस भी किया था, बट वो हम सिर्फ वीपीएन वी4 में कर सकते हैं, राइट?
नहीं, यहाँ
हाँ, एमपीएलएस में सर मैंने
नॉर्मल
करके
बीजी
देखा था, एसपी में मैंने करके देखा था, एसपी नेटवर्क में, तो सर हुआ नहीं। वो मेरे को एरर दे रहा था कि इट इज टू बी यूज्ड इन वीपीएन वी4, मतलब जहाँ पे एमपीएलएस चल रहा हो।
I will do. I will tell you where you will apply that. Come.
श्योर।
Any other question from the last class? Whatever topic we had covered, like from the peer group, and before that, implementing BGP between P to P, customer is to provider is, and BGP between P to P, between multiple P router in the provider work, the service provider network. Oh, all clear? Can anyone tell me all the attributes of BGP? BGP uses path attribute for best path selection. And how many attributes are there, guys?
11 attributes there are.
12 attributes are there, right? Yesterday we had seen 12 attributes, right?
11.
Until which
No, sir,
attribute?
only 11.
11.
We have
Yes,
seen
yes.
only
These are the attribute. Next hop 1,
Yes.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
One is just
12 attributes are there.
सर 11 ही बताया सर आपने।
self-advertise only.
कोई छूट गया होगा बीच में।
Self-advertise. Self-advertise.
Self advertised.
हाँ, सेल्फ एडवर्टाइज।
No worry. So easy. Like BGP will always prefer self advertised prefix over receive prefix. That is obvious.
सर इट इज मतलब इसको लोकली एडवर्टाइज भी बोलते हैं ना।
हाँ, locally. Guys, till which attributes we can perform load balancing? If all the attributes till IGP cost to reach next hop is same, then you can perform load balancing. Okay. So in the last class we had seen the first attribute. What is next hop? Means next hop IP address should be reachable. Next hop IP address should be reachable. After that we had seen the wait attribute. So wait is an Cisco proprietary attribute, right? Cisco proprietary
करेक्ट
attribute. And how we can use wait attribute?
सर इट इज locally significant to the router and we can use it for influencing the traffic
Will
by
BGP carry
increasing
wait
the
value in the update
no sir
message?
no sir it will be locally
Locally to
significant
the router. And what is the wait value for self-advertised prefixes?
32768
32728.
6, 8.
661.
And higher value always preferred. For receive prefix, wait value is going to be always 0.
0.
I think we had also seen how we can configure wait attribute with the help of route map. Correct? So guys, we can use wait attribute for outgoing traffic only, right? We cannot use wait attribute for incoming traffic, right? We cannot manipulate incoming traffic. We cannot influence incoming traffic with the help of wait attribute. Yes or no? For an example, what I am saying here, let's say I have one router here, R1 connected to R2 and R3. Here I have R4 who is advertising this subnet 40.1.1.0/24. Okay, right? Weight attribute is by default 0 0. So here if I will add weight attribute what 100 for an example, so router 1 is going to prefer this path. Router 1 will start preferring this path. Means whenever user will generate traffic for 40 subnet, router is going to forward traffic to R2, right? It is going to use this path. Means for which types of traffic you have influenced the path? For the traffic which will
Outgoing.
out from R1, right? For the
Yeah.
traffic which will out, which LAN user will generate for 40 subnet. For those all the traffics we have influenced the path. Can I influence the path for incoming traffic? Here for an example here, I have one subnet 10.1.1.0/24. Now what I want, whenever user from 40 subnet is going to forward traffic in 10 subnet, they should use this path, upper path. Can I do it with the help of weight attribute on router number 1? No,
No.
right? Because if I will advertise some weight value from here, then what will happen, guys? It will not work, because you know BGP cannot carry weight value. So even R1 will advertise 10 subnet with weight 0 only. Okay, this is about this attribute, that this attribute can be used for outbound traffic, for outbound traffic only. We cannot influence inbound traffic here. So that's why we come up with another attribute called local preference attribute, and local preference attribute is open standard. Local preference attribute, in short we are saying LP also. LP, local preference. BGP will always carry local preference information in its outgoing update, but right, but there is condition. BGP will always carry local preference information in its outgoing update. Whatever update BGP router is going to advertise, it will always carry local preference value, but only for iBGP. Yes. Only for iBGP. Yes. So again, if I have same topology here, and one more thing, by default, local preference value is
100.
by default LP is update, outgoing update. In all the outgoing update, local preference value is 100, and higher value will be always preferred. Preferred. Okay. So guys, for example, I have this topology R1. Later I am going to implement all the attribute in our topology. R1.
अरे ईबीजीपी के लिए काम नहीं करेगा बेसिकली लोकल प्रेफरेंस.
Okay. Here I have subnet same 10.1.1.0/24. Here also I have same subnet 10.1.1.0/20. Okay, so R2 and R3 both the routers are going to guys advertise this subnet 10.1.1.02 R1, and what will be the local preference value?
100.
100. Local preference value is going to be okay, and router cannot decide which path is the best path. But for an example, here my neighborship is BGP and here my neighborship is IBGP. Then what will be the local preference value over here? LP. Null. Null. And what will be the LP value over here? 100. So which
IGP,
path will be
IGP.
preferred?
EBGP.
IBGP.
IBGP. Right? But what you have learned here at this attribute?
Yeah, that's what asking.
External over internal? Here we have seen external prefixes will be always preferred over internal. But before
Internal.
this attribute, local preference attribute is going to be checked.
Preference.
Yes, local preference value. But if in case of default local preference value, BGP will not compare LP. Right? So here it is not going to select best path on the basis of local preference value. If it is default one, then it is not going to compare. If you are going to make it 101, then definitely lower path is going to be best path. Okay, so even in this case, if you are thinking
Sir,
through
explain
local
it.
preference value, fire 2 is the best path. No, because guys there is condition. Condition is this is default local preference value, and default local preference value not compared. So what I am saying that by default local preference value is 100 in all outgoing update messages, right? And before this point, what I told you, BGP always carry local preference value for IBGP neighbor only, right? So here my local preference value is going to be null. Here local preference value is going to be 100. So you will say that lower path is going to be best path because here we have higher weight value, local preference value. But what I am saying,
Correct.
the default local preference value will be not compared in this kind of scenario. What you can do simply in the GNS3, you can design this lab. Let me do it. R1, R2, and R will use this. Can use this topology for weight attribute also. On router number 2, for an example, I am going to configure AS number 100. (10.1.1.0/24). Same prefix is going to well 10.1. Here BGPS number is 100. Here also BGPS number is 100. But on R2 BGPS number is, for an example, is topology visible, guys?
Yes, sir.
So let me use my notepad to configure device. Config T interface F0/0 no search IP address 12.1.1 255.255.255.0 exit space F1/0 search and IP address 13.1.1 255.255.255.0 exit router BGP S number 100 and the router ID 1.1.1 neighbor 12.1.1.2 2 and remote ASs and neighbor 13.1.1.3 remote ASs 100. That's it. Copy and let me paste it on R1. Oh, done. Now on router number 2, IP on F0/0 is going to be 12.2 and this is not F1/0, it is going to be loopback 1. Here IP 10.1.1.1. 10.1.1. Router BGPS number 200. Neighbor router ID I am going to make it 2.2.2.2. Neighbor IP address 12.1 and remote AS is 100. Right? Command is not. Copy and one more thing for command. Network 10.1.1.0 5525525 .0. Copy. Let me paste it on R2. Done. On R3, here only I need to change IP 13.3 13.1.1.3 PS number 100. Router ID I am going to make it 3.3.3 and neighbor IP address is 13.1.1.1. Work same. Copy and let me paste.
सर 13.3 होगा ना सर?
नेबर का IP 13.3 होगा.
13.3 अच्छा नेबर का ओके.
Okay.
I
So
thought interface IP.
on R1 we can check show IP BGP summary. So we have neighborship between all the both the routers. One neighbor is iBGP neighbor, one neighbor is eBGP neighbor. So IP BGP. Why I'm not here? So IP. Oh, back is not IP base brief. Okay. Prefix is not best till now. Now it's best. So IP take some time. Wait. Till then on router number 1. So IP BGP. You can see how many paths are there, guys. How many paths are there? 2 paths. First attribute next hop. Both next hop are reachable. So first attribute is tie. Second attribute wait value. Wait value.
Correct.
Both are receive prefix. So wait value is
0.
0. Third attribute local preference value. When it is receiving from their iBGP neighbor, then local preference value is 100. When it is receiving from iBGP neighbor, eBGP neighbor, local preference value is null. Right? So you are thinking this is the best path because of local preference value. At best is, guys, via R3. Best is via R3 only, right? But
Yes.
on the basis of local preference value, it is not performing best path selection now. Okay. On the basis of which attribute it is performing best path selection, that is different attribute, not local preference, right? But it is going to make you confuse every time. When you will compare all the attribute, you will think here, okay, local preference value over here is 100, over here is null, that means this path is the best path. So remember, if this is iBGP neighbor and this is eBGP neighbor, then local preference value should not be default for best path selection, for path manipulation. Okay. So at this attribute also, right, this attribute is also going to be tie. It is going to check next attribute now. Next attribute is what? Self-advertise. Next attribute is self-advertise. Even we are not going to discuss self-advertise, you already know this. Self-advertise means, guys, locally prefix, right? Locally advertised prefix will be always preferred. where next hop is 0.0.0.0. Okay, and before self-advertise, one more thing about local preference value. How I can use local preference value for path manipulation. See, in this case, if I want to perform path manipulation, from here, this router is advertising what? LP 100. I can tell to router number 3 to advertise LP what? 101. Yes or no? How you will tell to router to advertise LP this one? Again, you will create route map simply. Route map. Let's say ABC. Permit sequence number 10. And here I am going to say what? Set LP local preference value 101. And then router BGP 100 neighbor 12.13.1 call to this route map in out direction. That's it. So this
सर
route
R3 पे
map,
करेंगे?
हाँ R3 पे करेंगे ना. We'll do it on
सर
R3.
R1 पे क्यों नहीं कर सकते हम ये चीज?
R1 पे भी कर सकते हैं इन डायरेक्शन में. R1 को भी कह
Okay.
सकते हैं ना, जब भी तुम R3 से प्रीफिक्स रिसीव करो लोकल प्रेफरेंस वैल्यू इतना सेट कर. But generally guys, we are using
Okay.
LP in the odd direction, right? Later you will get to know about this logic also, when you will understand in which kind of scenario we are going to use LP. But tell me, if I am going to manipulate path with the help of this method, I have created the route map and where I have set the local preference value and I have advertised it in odd direction. So which type of traffic I am influencing, inbound traffic or outbound traffic?
इनबाउंड. अगर R3 पे कर रहे हैं तो इनबाउंड,
Inbound.
और
Inbound,
R1
right?
पे कर रहे हैं तो सर आउटबाउंड.
Yes. When router 1 is going to forward traffic, means when router 3 is going to receive the traffic, right? For that we are configuring the LP value. So with the help of LP, generally we will be influencing which type of traffic, inbound traffic, and with the help of weight attribute, generally we will be influencing outbound traffic. Okay, and even weight is the Cisco proprietary attribute. Just guys, 1 minute.
क्या टाइम पास लगाया है?
You will learn the SD-WAN, software defined wide area network. There you will learn the OMP protocol. OMP protocol generally we are using to advertise prefixes. OMP is also routing protocol like OSPF, BGP, EIGRP. And in the OMP also we have one attribute called local preference attribute. It is used for path manipulation. Right? The use case is exactly same like BGP. So here in LP you need to keep two things in mind. First thing, that router only advertise LP value which is
Sir,
100
excuse me.
default.
Sir, excuse me. Sir, can you please just explain a little about the inbound and outbound traffic? I have a confusion here. Just
Okay.
very quickly, if you can, please.
R1, R2. Here is one PC, let's say 10.1.1.1. Here is one another PC IP 20.1.1.1. So if 10.1 is going to ping 20.1, if 10.1 is going to ping 20.1, so my traffic is going to flow like this. My traffic is going to flow like this only. So which type of traffic it is, guys? The traffic which is going out from this network to
Outbound.
Outbound.
this network, outbound
Yes.
traffic, and the traffic which is initiated by this PC for this PC will be considered as inbound traffic, right? So generally, for an example,
Yes.
this is my company network. Two routers are there, R1, R2. Both are connected with LAN. X network, Y network. Both the routers are connected to service provider router. Both the routers are connected to service provider router like this. Let's say SP1, SP2, and here is my another side, R3. Again here there is one LAN. Let's say Z. Okay. So this is your, let's say, DC data center, and this is your, for an example, side one, right? So sometime you will have requirement that influence the traffic in data center for outbound, means the traffic which is going from DC to side one, and sometime you will have requirement to influence the traffic which is coming from side one to DC, right? That is inbound traffic. So whenever you need to influence inbound traffic in the DC, you can use weight attribute. Yes or no? Here I can configure higher weight value, automatically this path will become best path. If I will configure here higher weight value, this path will become best path. Correct? Now,
Yes.
before without configuring side 2
Sir,
or
repeat
SP
one.
routers.
सर रिपीट regarding that weight.
हाँ?
सर एक बार फिर से रिपीट कर दीजिए वो वेट वैल्यू इंक्रीज करके.
मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि what I am saying, whatever prefixes I am receiving in the DC, I want to receive best over here, so that whenever this X user want to communicate with Y user, traffic will go from this path. So we are influencing outbound traffic. Now my requirement is what? That whenever side one user will forward any traffic in DC, traffic should come on this link, let's say this link. So here what I can do, from this side I can advertise higher local preference value 101 or 1000. So guys, SP2 router is going to receive X network with higher local preference value over here. Same local preference value will be advertised to R3. On R3, this point is going to become best point to enter in DC.
तो सर ये ट्रेवल करती है, LP travels from
Yeah,
one
LP travel in
place
the
to another.
BGP update message, and weight attribute does not travel in weight in the BGP update message, right? So we can only influence traffic with the outbound traffic with the help of weight attribute, because whenever prefix is coming, right, if we are manipulating the incoming prefixes, that means we are manipulating outbound traffic, right? And if we are influencing, guys, outbound traffic, the route which is going in odd direction, that means we are influencing inbound traffic. अगर हम प्रीफिक्स को इस डायरेक्शन में दे रहे हैं तो ट्रैफिक इस डायरेक्शन में आएगा, अगर ट्रैफिक रॉट इस डायरेक्शन में आ रहा है तो ट्रैफिक इस डायरेक्शन में जाएगा. यही तो होता है, दोनों अपोजिट है. इज इट क्लियर ब्रदर?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
तो सर उस केस में फिर हम लोग आउट में जब वो राउट मैप लगाते हैं तो यूज करेंगे आउट की इन. फिर जैसे अगर लोकल प्रेफरेंस की बात करें
आउट
तो हम
डायरेक्शन
लोग
यूज करोगे?
आउटबाउंड ट्रैफिक आउट डायरेक्शन में. ओके, मतलब यूजर के पर्सपेक्टिव से सोचना पड़ेगा अपने को,
बिल्कुल.
राइट? तो उस हिसाब से ले लें. मतलब जो जैसा यूजर चाह रहा है बेसिकली कि मेरा ट्रैफिक यहाँ से जाए, तो हम लोग आउट डायरेक्शन में कर देंगे लोकल प्रेफरेंस को.
करेक्ट. Side 1 SP. So see, if you want to influence the traffic which is going from X network to Y network, that means you are influencing outbound traffic, right? You have to manipulate route which is coming from side 1 to DC. Here I can use wait attribute, correct? But for the traffic initiated from side 1 to DC, if I want to manipulate this path, this type of requirement we have, and I want to influence inbound traffic, the traffic which is coming from side 1 to DC, then I have to advertise the local preference only, higher local preference to ISP1, to SP1. Yes or no? Yes,
In out direction.
in out direction. If I am saying advertise, that means I'm talking about out direction.
सर आउट अगर हम लोग स्पेसिफाई करते हैं दैट मींस वी आर इन्फ्लुएंसिंग इनकमिंग ट्रैफिक,
Yes,
राइट?
correct,
अगर इन स्पेसिफाई करते हैं तो दैट मींस आउटगोइंग ट्रैफिक.
correct. यही होता है, बस बाकी समझना है.
So wait can only be used in inwards direction or out.
In the direction, yes. On locally router, you can configure wait value in direction. Issue
So
with
this
wait
means
is
when
what?
the
What is
yes.
the issue with wait attribute? BGP cannot carry it in the update message, right? We cannot advertise wait attribute to the neighbor. So we cannot use it in odd direction. But BGP carry local preference value in the BGP update message, so we can use it in odd direction. So first of all, with the help of these two attributes, local preference and wait, we can influence both types of traffic or both types of route, incoming route or outgoing route, incoming traffic or outgoing traffic, inbound traffic or outbound traffic. All are.
तो सर कोई क्वेश्चन पूछता है हमसे कि आउटबाउंड ट्रैफिक के लिए कौन सा एट्रीब्यूट लगाओगे,
Wait
तो वी
attribute,
विल स्पेसिफाई बोथ दीज,
wait
दोनों
attribute.
वेट एंड लोकल प्रेफरेंस.
लोकल प्रेफरेंस क्यों?
local
लोकल प्रेफरेंस तो इनबाउंड ट्रैफिक के लिए यूज करते हैं ना. वेट एट्रीब्यूट
बहुत confusion हो गया. I don't know how to manage all this.
क्यों? क्या कंफ्यूजन?
Sir, am I correct?
In or out वाला sir.
Suppose to receive traffic, we need to forward the routes,
Yes,
right?
correct.
This is correct, right? Okay, then I think I
To
understood.
receive the traffic in DC from side 1, I have to advertise X subnet. If I want to receive traffic from ISP1, then here I can advertise higher local preference value. Simply, it's so simple.
सर कोई याद करने की टर्म हो, मतलब हो तो वो
याद
थोड़ा
करने
सा
की कुछ
easy
बस
हो जाएगा.
प्रैक्टिस से ही होगा. कॉन्सेप्ट है.
तो कंफ्यूजन बार बार रहेगा.
अगर आपको ये चीजें एक लाइन, इफ यू हैव अंडरस्टूड दिस सिंगल लाइन, then you can understand both the attribute, then you can differentiate between both the attribute, that BGP cannot carry weight value and BGP can carry local preference value. This is the only you need to keep in mind. If you know this, that means you can identify where I should configure weight attribute, where I should configure local preference value.
तो वेट ओनली रिसीविंग साइड के ऊपर लगा सकते हैं. Am I correct?
हाँ,
और जो लोकल प्रेफरेंस है इट कैन बी
इसको हम
ऑन
एडवर्टाइज
R1
कर
एज
सकते
वेल
हैं.
एज एन R2. दोनों साइड के ऊपर लग सकता है. R1 पे भी R2 के ऊपर भी. Whatever way we want to manipulate. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Real time scenario can be, you know what, like let's say there are two service provider connected to my edge router, SP1, SP, and both the service provider is advertising same subnet. Let's say 10.1.1.0/24, 10.1.1.0/24. Okay. If you want to prefer SP1, here you can configure what? higher weight value. So simple,
Correct.
correct?
जी.
Yes.
Now, from the another side, from the side where this LAN is running, let's say there is one another side here R2 where this LAN subnet is running. Now from this side I want to prefer SP1. So instead of configuring higher weight value over here, I can advertise higher weight value from this side to ISP1. That will also work. Both are going to do same work, yes or no?
Sir, higher weight value or higher local preference?
Sorry, higher local preference value. Here we can advertise higher local preference value to SP1. In that case also router 1 will start preferring SP1.
So any one of method it will work.
Yes. For an example, here I have fiber cable and here I have another link type. Let's say slower broadband link. Slower broadband link. So in this case, you have to manipulate the path. You have to prefer fiber over here, right?
Correct.
So I can advertise higher local preference value to SP1. Automatically this path will become best between side 1 and DC. Right? Because now my DC is going to receive all the prefixes from both the ISP, but from this side it is receiving higher local preference value, and higher local preference value will be always preferred. Don't worry, I will come on local preference again if you will have issue, question. Okay. For now, next attribute is self-advertise attribute, guys. And self-advertise is so simple. Self-advertise will be always prefer over received route. So if router 1
lab कर रहे थे सर इसको. We are on lab sir. Lab पे थे अभी जीएनएस में हम.
तब हो गया ना. अब
कहाँ
इसमें
किया हम लोग
देखेंगे आगे का एट्रीब्यूट.
Sir,
Now,
but want to show the IP route. Which route it has chosen, we have to.
13 na, here
I
you
think
can
you
see
are
na,
about
this
to
path
change
is the valid and
local
best.
preference.
सर पाथ चेंज करने के लिए था एक बार.
You are supposed to show, I think, the command.
Yes, you told that this one is not preferred because of local
Ah,
preference. Maybe
yes.
something else.
Yeah, so I told you that this is not best because of local preference value. I am going to show you why this path is the best path. Now it's look like,
Okay, please.
it's look like what? This path is best path because of local preference only. Because here we have local preference 100, here local preference null. So this path is the best path. But what I am saying, this is not true. I am going to show you the another attribute. Okay. And which path is the best? Here you can see this path is the best. This path is the backup path. Path is the backup path. Okay. So on sorter will say, okay, this is default local preference value. From IBGP neighbor, it will not compare the local preference. It will ignore the local preference value. It is going to take next attribute, which is self-advertise. But router 1 is not advertising this subnet 10.1.1.0. So now router 1 is going to check again next attribute, which is yes path. Yes path. Self-advertise is so simple. Like here, if router 1 is also advertising this same subnet 10.1.1.0, maybe router 1 is receiving it through OSPF, EIGRP, doesn't matter from where this prefix is coming. What is the metric? Right? Maybe metric is higher. Then also self-advertised prefix will be always preferred over learn prefix through BGP. Okay. Maybe router 1 is connected to another router here, R0, and here we are running OSPF, and through OSPF it is receiving 10 subnet plus 24, and here on router number 1 we have advertised it in the BGP. So at this moment of time, router will always prefer prefixes with next hop 0.0.0, means self-advertised prefix. Now next attribute is going to be, guys, yes path. Yes path. What is the yes path?
Sir,
Yes
how
path
many
means
ACs it is
autonomous
crossing?
system number. How many autonomous system numbers are there? For an example, here I have one another topology. R1 is there, R2 is there, R3 is there, R4 and R5. This is my topology. Like this. R2. Here my BGPS number is 100. Here my BGPS number is again 100. Here my BGPS number is 100. Here my BGPS number is 400. And here my PS number is 500 or 300. Anything. And on router number 3, I have one subnet 30.1.1.0/20. So when R3 will advertise this 30 subnet to router number 2, will it include ES number?
Yes.
30.1.1.0/24 is NLRI and ES number is correct. When router 1 will advertise it to R1, router 2 will advertise to R1. Will it include ES number?
No.
No.
No, right? So only ES number 200 is here in the ES path attribute. At BGP carry attributes information and ES path is going to be 200 from router number. When R3 will advertise same submit to R4, will it include ES number? Yes, 100. When R5 will advertise to R4, yes, 300 and 200. And when R4 will advertise to R1, again ES number will be there, right? 30.1.1.0/24 and 300 is there, 200 is there, and 400 is. So router need to select best path on the basis of ES path. It will compare. It will not compare the lower ES value. It will compare what? Number of.
Yes.
Number of ASA. So how many number of ASAs are there? 2. How many number of ASAs are there? 3. So lower value will be always. But so according to this tab, this path should be the.
सर पहले वाले में तो 1 ही होगा ना?
हैं?
वाई
1
R2
होगा.
में तो 1 ही होगा ना?
हाँ, 1 और
हाँ.
3.
दूसरे वाले में 3 होंगे. हाँ, आपने 2 कहा एक्चुअली.
So this path will become best path. This path will become best path, and we can use this attribute also to influence the path. Like I can add some ES value on router number. Let's say here I want to make this path as a best path. Again here we have fiber cable. Here I have slow broadband link. So on router number 2 I can add some ES value. Let's say 10, 10 and 10. I have add 10, 10, 10 3 times. And 200 was already there. So now how many ASA are there? 4. Right? Automatically lower path will become best path. So guys, in this case,
Can you repeat once again? That
yeah, here I am explaining. In this
sir,
case,
repeat कर दीजिए.
वही तो repeat कर रहा हूँ. When R2 will advertise 10 submit to R1, will it include ES number?
Yes.
What will be
Yes.
ES? When R3 will advertise this prefix to R1, will it include ES number?
No.
0,
No.
1. Which path will be preferred?
0, 1.
Lower path.
Yeah, that's okay.
On the
okay.
basis of this attribute, right now router is performing best path selection. Right? Now you can check the BGP table. See, when it is receiving prefix from 13.3 to their IBGP neighbor, ES path is 0. And when it is receiving prefix from 12.2 eBGP neighbor, ES value is 100. Right? So on the basis of this attribute, only router is performing best path selection now. Because of ES path, this path is the best path. Is it clear? not because of local preference value. So IP BGP 10.1.1.0. Here also you can
तो थोड़ा बड़ा करते हैं।
well, preference one. So have that information, but you can check the attribute. You have to find the reason, guys, on the basis of which attribute router is performing best path selection. Okay, and to find, you need concept only. You have to understand all the attributes. Any other command available?
बेस्ट पाथ करके चलाना सर। सब मैनिपुलेट करके देख लेते हैं ना एक बार।
हाँ वो तो कर सकते। We can do the manipulation like on router number 3. Router 3 is not advertising any ASA, so I can configure some ASA here. Route map or AS path permit 10 and AS
सेट
ten and
सर स्पेस मत डालिए 10 के बाद में।
so I have added 10 4 times here. Okay, and now I am going to call this route map with neighbor router BGP as number 100 and I am saying neighbor 13.1.1.1 and use route map. What is the name of my route map?
यस पाथ।
AS path.
Yes, path. And in which direction? Not direction. Then go to router number 1 and say clear IP star soft in and IP. Now best is via which router? Still router number 3. Still router number 3. Because ASAs are not coming from R3.
सर अभी राउट मैप को सर नेबर के साथ कॉल कर दिया है, डायरेक्शन आउट ही रहेगी।
Path
सर एक बार R1 पे देखना।
Sir, this one maybe IPGP neighbor, maybe it will not accept.
No, no. For IP per IBGP neighbor, for IBGP neighbor, it will not advertise AS path. Yes,
I'm asking this question. I don't
yes,
know.
yes. IBGP router never carry AS path information. So we can do one thing. We can apply it on R1. Let me check on R1. It is working direction of attribute in traffic only.
Sir, we will apply one more AS number to R2 so that we will confirm.
तो R2 पे there is only one AS number. So अगर करेंगे भी तो it is already preferring R3.
No, just we would like to see how many AS number coming from R2.
हाँ सर एक बार R2 पे just कि कमांड सही है सब कुछ ओके है we can do it for testing purpose. बट वो सर वो आईबीजीपी तो ठीक है बट वो लोकली एडवर्टाइज रूट है राइट तो वहां तो दिखाना ही चाहिए था उसे
Route map.
सर एक बार R2 पे लगाइए एक बार ऐड करके सेम कमांड से
By the way, we'll see. ABC पर one R
हम्म
So it is not working because of IBGP neighborship. Between order 1 and order 2, we have IBGP neighbor, and you know, whenever BGP advertise prefixes to their IBGP neighbor, it not carry, not include ES path in the update.
तो सर जहाँ IPGP होगा, we have to मतलब use wait only.
Wait or local preference. Wait, or you can use local preference attribute.
So
अगर
in
सर
this
R3
case,
के
the
साथ में
best path is
R4 भी है, R3 के साथ में अगर R4 भी है, तब वो तो R4 का अगर डिफरेंट एस नंबर रहेगा तो वो फॉरवर्ड करेगा, एडवर्टाइज करेगा ना, तो उसके साथ ऐड नहीं करेगा फिर।
के साथ ऐड करेगा फिर
सर
आपको
हम ये
उस
कर
नेबर
सकते
के
हैं,
साथ कॉल
ये
करना
तो कोई
पड़ेगा
उसके
राउट
पास
में।
में एस नंबर नहीं है वो एडवर्टाइज करने के लिए। अगर R4 से उसको मिलता है डिफरेंट एस नंबर, तो उसके साथ में ये वाला भी एडवर्टाइज कर सकता है ना।
यस, जनरली हमेशा और डायरेक्शन में यूज होता है, और डायरेक्शन में जो हम प्रीफिक्सेस के साथ एक्स्ट्रा एस ऐड करते हैं, और ये ईबीजीपी नेबर के साथ काम करेगा, आईबीजीपी के साथ नहीं कर, बिकॉज आईबीजीपी नेबर के लिए वेट एस पाथ एट्रीब्यूट इंक्लूड ही नहीं होता है ना अपडेट में।
अपडेट मैसेज में एस
जी,
जाता
उसका अपना नहीं होता है, लेकिन उसके साथ में अगर दूसरा होता है तो वो तो करेगा ना
हाँ,
वो।
वो जाएगा, बिल्कुल हो जाएगा। अगर हम यहाँ पे एक लिंक बना दे ऐसे करें,
सर 2 राउटर और बना दीजिए पीछे R3 के ऊपर। ओके।
हाँ, वो लैब है अपने पास, अभी करेंगे,
हम्म।
डोंट वरी, विल डू दैट लैब हियर, हियर वी विल मैनिपुलेट द पाथ।
Sure.
Let me first finish all the attribute counts. After that, we will start path map.
so sir, as you said, so is that best path selection based on local preference?
The best path selection is not happening on the basis of local. It is happening on the basis of ES path.
Then okay.
That we can. Here I have one another side. You can see somewhere your quarter, and this is a private company, and there are two service providers. So here we can try to manipulate the path to ES path. Okay. What next attribute? What is the next attribute apart from ES path? ES path,
तो
here
सर
what
ये
you need to keep in mind in ES path, the lower value will
सर
be
इनकमिंग के लिए होता है,
outgoing के लिए, incoming traffic के लिए.
इनकमिंग ट्रैफिक के लिए, राइट? आउट डायरेक्शन में इनकमिंग ट्रैफिक के लिए।
If ES path is also same, then origin code. Origin code, and we have guys 3 origin code over here in BGP. One is I, one is E, and one is question mark. One is question mark, or you can say incomplete. What is I? I is a separate routing protocol, right? Earlier we were using, that is called IGP. Whenever you will advertise prefixes through network command in BGP, origin code is going to be what? I. Network command. Whenever we will advertise prefixes in BGP through network command, then origin code will be always I. I means we have advertised the prefixes through network command, the BGP. If we are going to advertise the prefix through redistribution, then origin code is going to be incomplete. Redistribution. And guys, E is for separate routing protocol, that is BGP. Before BGP we had one more protocol called EGP, exterior gateway protocol. Okay, similar like BGP, but it is not in use, not in use. So here we have to learn two attribute on not attribute origin code. One is I and one is question mark, and I will be always before our question mark. Means network command, whenever we are advertising prefixes through network command, that will be always before our redistributed route. This is also so simple. I will be always before our incomplete question mark. For an example, in this case, in this scenario, right? On router number 2, I have advertised 10 subnet through network command, network 10.1.1.0/24 and mask 255.255.255.0. And here I said redistribute connected. Right? So this way also we can guys advertise this subnet, yes or no? And this way also we can advertise the subnet. Now R2 is going to advertise this 10.1.1.0/24 subnet with origin code I, and R3 is going to advertise same subnet with origin code question mark. And router will select best path on the basis of origin code. I will be always before our complete. Okay.
Okay.
Then mat is guys metric, similar like metric in IGP. Lower metric will be always preferred, but by default BGP does not use any metric. Right? So when we will redistribute EIGRP prefixes or OSPF prefixes or any other routing domain prefixes in BGP, then BGP will start using metric value. Let's say I have a topology like this: R1, R2, R3, and here I have one subnet 10.1.1.0/24. Here I am running EIGRP this side, and here I am running, and I have redistributed EIGRP prefixes into BGP, and EIGRP have calculated what metric? 154 an example. So same metric will be advertised in BGP domain. Same prefix, same metric will be advertised in BGP domain. So R1 will get this 10 subnet with what metric? 100. Now, if this is my scenario, and here again router 2 is learning this prefix through EIGRP, and router 3 is also learning this same prefix through EIGRP. Right? Here I have redistributed, here also I have redistributed. If here EIGRP metric is 150 and here EIGRP metric is 100, right? So on router number 1, which path is going to be best? Via router number 3, because this side it will use metric 150, this side it will use metric 100, and lower value will be always preferred. So this is also similar like IGP, interior gateway protocol, like OSPF, EIGRP, or then in most of cases even metric is going to be same. Then router is going to check external or internal. But here we don't need to explain anything, right? If router is receiving same prefix from both the neighbor, IGP or EGP, EBGP and IBGP, then it will prefer EBGP because it has lower AD value 20 and 200. Yes.
सर वो एमईडी में सर अगेन वो बताते चलिए कि आउटगोइंग के लिए कि इनकमिंग के लिए, आउटबाउंड या इनबाउंड, which direction?
So while redistribution, in which direction you will advertise prefix? Whenever I am redistributing any prefix in BGP, always direction is going to be what? Out only. Out no brother. When router 2 will advertise prefixes, that time metric should be 150. If you want to increase, you can create route map and you can call that with neighbor. Right? One by one, we will implement all the attribute for path manipulation. Okay? Don't worry. Just wait. I will come to the actual scenario, and even it will be easier for me to understand where I should use which attribute. path manipulation. After that, external or internal. External will be always before our internal. If both the neighbors are either external or internal, then IGP cost to reach next hop. This is IGP cost. If we are running OSPF in the internal network for internal connectivity, right? So what is the cost of OSPF to reach next hop, right? For an example can be R1 connected to R2 and R3. Both the router is advertising 10.1.1.0/24 again 10.1.1.0/24. This is, let's say, my fast Ethernet link, and this is serial link. Okay, and here I have one loopback 1.1.1.1. Here I have loopback 2.2.2.2. Here I have loopback 3.3.3.3, and I have BGP neighborship with alpha loopback. Right. So in this case, again, you can see both the neighbor 2.2.2 also and 3.3.3 are advertising same subnet. But which one will be the best? Which one will be the best? What is IGP cost to reach 2.2.2, guys? 2. One cost on loopback interface and one cost on fast Ethernet link. What is the OSPF cost on serial link? 64. So 64 plus 165. IGP cost to reach 3.3.3 is 65. IGP cost to reach 2.2.2 is. So which one will be the preferred? Upper path via router 2. Okay. This is also exactly like IGP best path selection. Until here, if all the attributes are same, then we can achieve load balancing. Otherwise, by default, BGP cannot perform load balancing. BGP can only install one path by default. The maximum path command is running and the maximum path is configured as 1. Maximum path is by default configured as 1. Right? So it cannot perform load balancing. Then router have to check next attribute. So next attribute for eBGP is oldest path, and for iBGP lower neighbor router ID or lower neighbor IP address.
So it means BGP will never do load balancing.
Why? By default, it can never do load balancing.
Okay.
Here, if I will configure maximum path 2 and all the attribute till IGP cost to reach next hop is same, then it will perform load balancing.
सर जो नेक्स्ट वाला है ओल्डेस्ट पाथ इन ईबीजीपी, अगर दो नेबर हैं जिनके साथ ईबीजीपी बनी हुई है, तो जो पहले कॉन्फ़िगर हुई होगी वो प्रेफर करेगा, राइट?
अगर सेम टाइम पे कॉन्फ़िगर हो गया फिर क्या होगा?
Sir,
तो
can you
फिर
repeat once again that maximum path 1?
By default, router BGP can install only one path in their routing table. Right? So even all the attribute till next hop, cost IGP cost to reach next hop is same. Then also BGP cannot install two path. So that's why we have these tiebreaker. These attributes are tiebreaker attribute. अब अगर आप बोलते हो तो फिर implement करें. Can we start the implementation path manipulation in BGP?
Sir, you were saying something about the old path, oldest path. If both paths are configured at the same time, then what?
Then also there will be some difference, brother.
लोअर नेबर राउटर आईडी
Then
और
no. Lower neighbor router ID or IP address is only for iBGP, not for eBGP, right? Then randomly router can install one path. If you are saying that if router is going to receive same subnet from two eBGP neighbor at the same time, then what will happen? Router can pick any one randomly. Then there is no any tiebreaker, right? But generally we will have at least some differences, maybe in macrosecond or nanosecond.
सर आई हैव सीन दिस सिनेरियो कि जहाँ पे कस्टमर वाज सेइंग कि पहले मेरा ये वाला पाथ प्रेफर कर रहा था, इट वाज प्रेफरिंग दिस पाथ, एंड नाउ आफ्टर सम फ्लैप इट हैज स्टार्टेड यूजिंग द अदर पाथ, एंड आई वांट कि मेरा पहले वाला ही पाथ प्रेफर करे, दोनों ही बीजीपी था। तो हमने वही एक बार फिर उसको शट डाउन करके नो शट डाउन करा था।
कभी भी हम पाथ मैनिपुलेशन के लिए वी विल नेवर यूज दिस टाई ब्रेकर एट्रीब्यूट फॉर path manipulation, like shutting down the neighbor or clearing the neighborship, right? We have these all attribute, we can it. Otherwise जब कभी neighbor down जाएगा या कभी link में fluctuation आएगी तो फिर होगा ना वहाँ पे, right? So we will always use these attributes for path manipulation. Let's use these all attributes for using this topology.
पहले सिंपल करते हैं सर आज, क्योंकि ऑलरेडी टाइम भी हो गया है। 10 बज गए सर।
See here, first of all I think I have to enable BGP on all the router, and here I have the peer group configuration that in last class we had configure it. Now I am going to 1.1.1 to 4.4.4.4, and I will use these all commands on router number 1. OSPF
सर आई
single
थिंक
relay,
मतलब बना हुआ है सर, ओएसपीएफ बना हुआ था,
OSPF
आपने सेव नहीं करा था क्या?
से भी है। Dot 1. Done. Soon we will have BGP membership. And on R3 I can add one more command here. On R3 I can say router BGP 100 is already neighbor 5.5.5 or 35.5. So I can say 35.5 or 5.5.5. With the help of loopback also we can form neighborship here. But guys, there is no any benefit of configuring neighborship through loopback. Yes, there is benefit because we have alternate path via router 4 and 6. Also 3.3.3 and 5.5.5 can reach. So here also we should loop back only. So neighbor 5.5.5.5 and remote AS here I am going to say 500. Then neighbor 5.5.5.5 update source back 1 or 10.
चलो पे देखना पड़ेगा।
IP face brief 10 back 10. Any other command?
Sir, loopback update source loopback 10.
हाँ कर दिया. Anything else? Neighbor 5.5.5. router 6
सर
के
loopback
साथ
10
भी
ठीक नहीं लिखा हुआ सर, L मिसिंग है उसके अंदर से या 1 मिसिंग है।
Copy. R5. P. Call. SPF is running at SPF. All the loopbacks are router BGP 500, neighbor 3.3.3.3, remote AS 100, and neighbor 3.3.3.3, update source loopback 1. Will I have BGP neighborship here? Answer is
No.
why?
Connected check rule.
EBGP is sir connected check.
So neighbor 3.3.3.3 and disable connected check. On router number 3 also neighbor 5.5.5.5 disable connected check. Now will I have neighborship? Do so IPv6 summary. Neighbor is
ID.
idle. So neighbor 5.5.5.5
Multi-hop.
EBGP multi-hop.
2.
On router number 5 also you can say 3.3.3 EBGP multi-hop. Do so IP summary. Now still my neighbor is down, so do ping 3.3.3.3 and source 5.5. There is reachability.
Is not there.
Reachability issue.
Sir, interface configure
You use
F0.0.
loopback 1.
Do
Sir,
so
F0.
IP interface brief. Okay. Neighbor 3.3.3.3 update source loopback 1 to no, and neighbor 3.3.3.3 update source back.
Loopback 10.
बट रीचेबिलिटी क्यों नहीं है? टू सो आईपी ओएसपीएफ नेबर, ओएसपीएफ का नेबर ही नहीं है. टू सो आईपी ओएसपीएफ इंटरफेस.
सर 0/0 में OSPF क्यों चलाएंगे सर? हम BGP चलाएंगे ना सर. R3 और R5 के बीच में
3.3.3 and 5.5.5 are reachable. First of all we need reachability.
सर पहले इंटरफेस IPs वगैरह पिंग कर लीजिए एक बार. R3 का इंटरफेस और 0/0 का इंटरफेस R5 का.
ओएसपीएफ को उससे क्या मतलब? ओएसपीएफ क्यों चलाएंगे? क्योंकि रीचेबिलिटी चाहिए हमें.
सर लेकिन OSPF तो सर हम इंटरनल नेटवर्क में चलाते हैं, ये तो एक्सटर्नल हो गया ना सर. राइट.
एक्सटर्नल अगर है तो आप फिजिकल आईपी एड्रेस से फिर नेबरशिप करेंगे ना, फिर लूपबैक से थोड़ी ना करेंगे.
सर कल हमने एक सिनेरियो किया था जिसमें हमने कोई OSPF थोड़ी चलाया था. एक्सटर्नल SP से कस्टमर
फिजिकल
C के बीच
इंटरफेस
में
की आईपी एड्रेस से नेबरशिप फॉर्म किया था ना हमने.
हाँ
Instead of saying 5.5.5, you can do that also. Right? If you are considering this network as a service provider network, you can configure BGP neighborship with physical IP address. But as I have multiple path here, I have configured BGP through loopback. Right? Maybe these two are part of same campus. There are two building. Okay? So in that case, I will have OSPF also. So on R3 do so IP interface, so IP OSPF interface brief. अब 3/0 पे OSPF enable नहीं है ना?
0/0 पे है ना सर.
Just 3/0 R5 OSPF is not enabled. So here interface F3/0 IP OSPF 1 area. So on R5 also I can enable. बेटर तो यही होता कि हम यहाँ से बैक के बजाय फिजिकल इंटरफेस से परसीव कौन. दैट इज द एक्चुअल वे हियर. बट नो वरी, इंटरफेस F0/0 and do so IP first or only OS. GRP is running over 500 is running to so run section BGP.
वही है जो हमने चलाई है अभी.
Router OSPF1 ID week 5.5.5 by the way, and interface F0/0 IP F1. Now I will have OSPF neighbor.
और बीजेपी भी आ जाएगी सर.
R4 और R6 के बीच में भी BGP चला देते हैं. Right. Let's do one thing here. Let me configure BGP interface IP address. Router BGP 100 and I am saying neighbor. Who is neighbor? 46.1.1.6 and remote AS is 500. Config T router BGP number 500 and neighbor 40.1.4 and remote is 100. IP summary of membership with router 3 5
उस पे देखना सर आपस में इनका.
ping 5.5.5.5 source 3.3. Will not work. I need to advertise one more network on router number 5 back 10 face loop back 10 IP OSPF 1 area. BGP membership is now I am going to advertise let's say 50 subnet here on R5. On R5 I am going to advertise 50 subnet. Config T router BGP number 500 and let's say redistribute connected and do so IP EIGRP neighbor. And guys, between router 5 and router 6 we have EIGRP neighborship. Do so IP route EIGRP. So IP route EIGRP. So through EIGRP it is learning all 60 subnets and router 6 will be learning all 50 subnets.
सर 5 and 6 के बीच में EIGRP है.
Right. So now in ES 100 both the router 5 as well as router 6 is advertising 50 subnet. Yes or no?
50 and 60, yeah.
Both the routers are advertising 50 subnet. Till now I have not advertised 60 in BGP. Let's talk about this 50 only. You can verify it on any router. Let's say on R3. On R3 I can check BGP table. So IP BGP. You can see all the 50 prefixes are coming from 5.5.5.5 means from router number 5 only. Why prefixes are not coming from router number 6? Why prefixes are not coming from router number 6? Right? Guys, from router number 6, how prefixes will come here on R3? Why are router number 4? So let me take you to R4 and let me check here. So IP BGP. Only 50, all the 50 prefixes are coming from 5.5.5.5. Next hop IP address is 5.5.5.5. And how?
डायरेक्ट कनेक्टिविटी तो है ही नहीं सर. कि हमने बनाया है क्रॉस में इनके बीच में
On
बीजीपी
R4
R4 और
there
5
is
के बीच
no.
में.
क्या बोल रहे हो?
सर ये R4 एंड R5 के बीच में हमने क्या बीजीपी बनाया है क्या?
Yes.
चलाया क्या?
Yes.
ओके.
Here we have. So
नहीं
R6.
R5 की से आ रहा है ना सर नेक्स्ट हॉप जो आ रहा है.
हाँ 5.5.5 आर,
हाँ
बट जब R6 एडवर्टाइज करवाएगा अपने ई को, इट शुड मॉडिफाई द नेक्स्ट हॉप, दिस आईपी एड्रेस शुड बी नेक्स्ट हॉप ऑन डॉटर नंबर 4.
करेक्ट.
So that prefix I am not able to find here on R4. I am expecting guys 50 and 60 from both the router, from 5.5.5 also and 6.6.
सर नेक्स्ट हॉप रूल चला दीजिए एक बार R6 पे. सर तभी फिर वो इधर से दिखाने लग जाएगा ना.
नेक्स्ट हॉप सेल्फ कमांड तब चलती है जब अपने IBGP नेबर को प्रीफिक्स एडवर्टाइज कर रहा है.
तो सर बट इसने अभी तक
R6 पे ही BGP टेबल में 50 का प्रीफिक्स
आ ही नहीं रहा है.
आ ही नहीं रहा.
तो रीडिस्ट्रीब्यूट करना
150
पड़ेगा सर बीजीपी में
router
एजीआरपी को.
500 and network 50.1.1.0 mask 255.255.255.0.
सर हम इसमें वो नहीं कर सकते रीडिस्ट्रीब्यूट एजीआरपी.
वो भी कर सकते हैं और कल के क्लास में we'll see it in detail tomorrow from the scratch, because today we
हाँ
don't
सर
have time.
टाइम.
Now on router number 4 I can check BGP table and let me here IP star soft in once, then show IP. Now you can see R4 is receiving from both the neighbor 5.5.5 also and 6.6.6 also. 6.6.6 means 46.1.1.6,
करेक्ट.
right? On R3 also we can verify. So IP BGP, right? Two paths are there. Now you can ask this question to yourself: how best is via R5.5.5 on R4 also and on R3 also. On R4 best is via R6.
R6
On
yes.
R3 best is via R5. First thing. Then on router number 1, enable show IP BGP. Two paths are there, and best is which one? Which one is the best?
5.
5. 5.5.5.5. So here guys, first attribute is used, which is ping 46.1.1.6. Is this IP address reachable over here? Right, so one next hop is reachable, another next hop is not reachable. On the basis of first attribute, it can select the best path. But what if I will run update source loopback, sorry, update next hop self command on router number 4. On router number 4, I am going to run next hop self command, so that it will modify the next hop in ES100 on 50 router BGP. Even here I can do one thing. In the peer group I can add command neighbor IDP peer and then next hop.
सर आईबीपी है सर, वो आईबीपी है सर, वो गड़बड़ हो जाएगी. आईबीपी नाम रखा हुआ हमने पेयर ग्रुप का. सर वही वो भी पूरे में ही वही मिस्टेक ही करनी पड़ेगी.
तो हो
हम्म
peer group and then next hop can run this command under BGP on router number 4. So for all the neighbor it will modify the next hop router BGP 100. Let me run this command neighbor.
सर वो सेल्फ और उसके बीच में सर हाइफन आया.
Next hop self, right? Now let me take you to R1 again. Here IP BGP star soft in 1 and then show IP BGP.
चला ही गया वो तो. 4 से आ रहा है.
5.5 गया.
हाँ सर 4 से ही आ रहे हैं अब तो सर. और सर 56 वाला आ रहा है सर 5.5 से,
The
जो कि
reason is, you know
ये
what?
GRP. हम्म.
Reason is, you know what? See, earlier R5 was advertising.
हम्म. सर 32 GB का तो नहीं होगा. आपके जितने हैं. बट हमें आपका कर्सर हिलता हुआ दिख रहा है सर.
फिर हम लोग लैपटॉप में कैसे
Okay.
चलेगा सर?
चलाएंगे ना. Now, what I am saying, see, R5 was advertising 50 subnet to router number 3. Into
सर ये इंडिकेशन है कि हमें डिनर करना चाहिए.
अपना
हम्म.
सर आज तो कंप्यूटर भी कह रहा है बस कर दें सर.
सर आज के लिए थ्योरी दिमाग में रखते हैं, थ्योरी रिवाइज करते हैं सर. एंड सर इसका बीजीपी का लैब सर थोड़ा धीरे-धीरे करेंगे तो ज़्यादा अच्छा रहेगा सर, ताकि दिमाग में रहे लॉन्ग टाइम तक.
now, guys, see, earlier R3 was learning 50 prefixes via R5, 5.5.5, and R4 was also advertising, but it was preferring which one? eBGP. When
R5.
iBGP or eBGP both are advertising, then which will be preferred?
EVG.
EBG.
BGP. And
External
that
over
time, even
internal.
the next hop was not reachable from router number 4. By router 4, next hop was not reachable earlier because next hop was 46.6. But here, run command next hop self. So router started advertising their on interface IP address as a next hop. Now from both side prefixes are reachable on router number 3. Tell me which path is going to be best on R3 according to all the attributes. On R3, best is via router 4, right? Best is via router number 4. So now router 3 is going to install all 50 prefixes via router number 4 and it will advertise to their neighbor. So that's why router 1 is now only receiving prefixes via 4.4.4, because now R3 is not advertising those prefixes which is coming from R5. R3 is also advertising the same prefixes which is coming from R4. But the question over here is why IGP prefix become best over here on R3. Take all the attribute sequence. Next hop. Both the next hop are reachable.
Correct.
Then
Wait.
wait,
Not there.
not there. LP,
Not there.
not there. By default, even here LP value is going to be what? 100. Here it is null. But with default, it will not compare. Then next attribute.
AS path.
AS path. What will be AS over here?
500 only.
500. When router 6 will advertise to R4.
Sir 500.
When R4 will advertise to R3.
500 only.
500 only. Then next attribute.
Origin code.
In here I have used which command? Redistribute
Network.
connected. No,
Okay.
on
Okay.
daughter
Okay.
number
Okay.
5 I have used connected. Distribute
Mhm.
connected. And here
और वहां पे नेटवर्क कमांड से है.
network command, right? So here from R4 origin code is I, and from R5 origin code is
क्वेश्चन
none.
मार्क.
See the reason why this prefix is best, and R3. Now on daughter number 2 also we will have 50 prefixes from daughter number 4 only. So what you need to learn in this topology, guys, default behavior first of all. When we will implement all the protocols here, BGP and OSPF, after that default behavior, and then we will see path manipulation with the help of attribute. Okay.
सर स्क्रैच से करेंगे कल.
हाँ, स्क्रैच से आप लोग इसको बस लैब को कॉन्फ़िगर करके आना, राइट? टुमारो come with the configuration of this lab. Okay, everyone should have this lab in your DNS3 and it should be configured, right? Here make sure you will configure BGP through physical IP address only, don't configure through loopback. Okay, when you
तो
don't
उस पे
use
अपना चलाएं सर इनके बीच में.
नहीं, इसके बीच में इस पे अपना
ठीक है सर. डन.
वैसे कुछ भी करेंगे
एंड
चलेगा, बट फिजिकल आसान है.
एंड सर इन दोनों के बीच में R5 और R6 के बीच में
R5 और यहाँ पे कोई भी IGP प्रोटोकॉल चला दीजिए ताकि
डिफॉल्ट रूट
दोनों
चले.
राउटर 50 और 60 प्रीफिक्सेस को एडवर्टाइज कर.
ठीक है सर.
And in this topology only I am going to tell you the actual use of all the attribute for path manipulation. In which kind of scenario you should use which attribute. Okay, here I have lots of paths, so I have so many options for path manipulation, right? So many paths are here between source and destination. We can consider this network as service provider, and this is the internal. So in my internal network I am running full mesh IBGP ES100, and here we are running between ES100 and 500, right? Both neighbor are advertising 50 and 60 prefixes. That is your. On order number 5 also, if I am going to advertise 50 prefixes through network command only, right, then what will happen? Those things you can check which are the default behavior only, and by using attribute we will see the path manipulation, how we can manipulate. One by one we will use all the attribute: weight, local preference, ES path, metric, everything. Then we will have another.
ओके सर.
पढ़ाया.
Thank you, sir.